everybody. Ward's podcast bad. JC's wearing a new shirt. What's it say for the everybody?
We are not descended from fearful men.
And that is 100% true. I usually around Thanksgiving, Edward and I do the William Bradford story, which was 150 years before, a little over 150 years before the Revolution, and we go through that and explain that, and that T-shirt hits hard, incredible.
I have more.
I know. Well, I know you do. Man.
There's a few that I don't have. One has Cash Patel on it. That one's in mothballs. All right. My name is Counterfeit Cash until I see some indictments. I love what I'm hearing, but until I see it happen, I'm not buying it.
Did you see that shirt out? I want to get it, but it was out of stock that said England lost a 13 colony lead.
And how about that? They still have the Canadian colonies.
Yeah.
Even to this day. To this day. What a disgrace.
What cracks me up though, obviously it's through their censorship and their propaganda and news networks, and is that I'll see a lot of I'll post or I'll respond to a Canadian and say, you guys could just, ask for your independence. We could give you a document you can copy and paste. And they'd be like, we're independent. We've been independent since 19 whatever. And I go, no, you're not.
You're not.
You're a colony. No. You're a British colony.
We will, or as what's his name said, Dickinson from Pennsylvania, we will petition the king. We will go to him. We will do this. We will do that. And Sam Adams looks at him and says, what are you talking about? We've done that. I mean, how many times are you going to, well, we're going to go back and we're going to go back again. For what? You already know the answer. The answer is the jackboot of tyranny. Sorry,
yeah.
What it was. And the Brits hate it when you call them out on that. But that's exactly what they did. And last but not least, their actions in the American Civil War cement them in all time as, oh, but we're against slavery. Oh, but not really. Not if we can break up America and make them less strong. Because we're really tired of fighting wars with them. And what they mean is we're tired of losing wars with them.
Tired of getting our ass kicked every damn
and
time.
Spending all this money and to no upside. And we know that if we keep it up and they remain intact, that we can never win. So what we'll do is we'll co-opt them. And we will send our Fabian socialists over to the United States and start the progressive era. And then we'll co-opt their elites, the Victoria Newlands and all the rest of it. And we'll be able to use their firepower and their money, and we'll still call the shots. And that is what the World Economic Forum is. It's the friggin' Rothschilds. You know it is. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. Klaus Schwab is not the boss. You know who is.
Yeah, it's the crown.
Morgan Freeman said it in Driving Miss Daisy. Yeah, Miss Daisy, it's the same old ones that it always is. Yeah, it is. It is. And they really thought, and this is not my original observation, Steve Cooley on Twitter is a pen pal of mine, and he's really great. He's Utah. He's conservative to the bone. And he said clearly what they thought was that they could build up China and use Chinese money to supplant America, and Britain could still call the shots. And I guarantee you Richard Poe is right there with him and will agree that that's exactly what England has been trying to do for the last 30 years. Well, and I'm not talking about the English government's a dead letter. We're talking about British elites. We're talking about the people with power. We're talking about the people in Switzerland. That's who we're talking about.
When you get into that and you look and you go, right, what do they say the major threats to the world are? Russia, 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 and the Chinese road initiative. And they're
Yes.
not. Russia can't win a war against Ukraine, and China has refused to. They threatened to take over Taiwan for the last 12 years and haven't made a move because they can't. They're
Right.
not the
Gee,
threat. It's the elite European globalists that are actually a threat, and they know the only way they can get power is if they topple the United States.
right. And look at what they're doing. They're finally dipping into their own checkbooks to fight their own war. I'm I'm sorry. I mean, I know my son and my daughter, my deceased daughter, are from Ukraine. They're actually from the Donbass region. They're from Donetsk. I mean, I've seen pictures of what happened to the place where I got them. It looks like Stalingrad. I mean, it
Mhm.
just totally destroyed. And I show it to my son, and he's like, "Oh my God!" I said, "You're my ex, his mother, oh, we should go back and visit." I said, bullshit, they'll put him in the military. You've got to be kidding. No, that's not
Right.
going to happen. You can't renounce citizenship over there. You can't.
Well, but
So
what
no, he's go ahead.
what everybody does, this has been erased, it's been memory hold, is that since 2014 up until about 2020, Zelensky, installed by American CIA and other globalist intelligence agencies, was literally putting landmines in the ground, bombing them, and arresting all of the people who were worshiping Russian Orthodox. In that
Yeah,
whole region, that whole three province region, it believes themselves to be Russian, ethnically Russian, and they had
they
no
are.
problem living in Ukraine but being pro-Russian. And Zelensky and his party did not like that, and they tried to just squash them. So a lot of the destruction you see over the years was Zelensky's team blowing up their own citizens.
Of course they were. And in fact, the way it was referred to when I was over there, and this is actually a very touching story. The night before we adopted them, they pulled out the vodka, and I'm sitting there doing shots with these guys, and there were no Yingling tracers. Okay, no, there wasn't anything like that. This was just straight up. And if you're brave enough to drink some water, you could cut it a little bit. But we got to about the ninth round, and the guy who was my host, he says, "You, you are not like the other Americans." Basically what he said is, "You're gonna win." And I mean, they pulled the potato vodka out from under the sink, and we just kept going. He says, "Well, you need to go to bed with your bride." And I said, "For what? You come on, I'm gonna wake up tomorrow with a headache." But no, I'm not gonna let you guys drink alone. I said, I'll have years to drink to the children. I said, but tonight we drink to Evgeny.
That's awesome. That's such a
No,
great
the guy
story.
had a Jethro Tull reel-to-reel tapes. I mean, it was friggin' fantastic. It's
No
just
way.
unforgettable.
Ah,
Unforgettable.
God. Well, and that's funny because obviously, they had iPods available, but again, it's a totally different economy
Oh yeah.
in Ukraine. So reel to reels were still a thing. I shit you not. I still have reel to reels and 16 millimeter footage my grandfather took that I've just never digitized.
Wow.
Because it's just too expensive to do it, and since him and my father are already passed, there's no one to narrate and say who all the people are, all the cousins are in the videos.
I actually just going with that. I actually bought the movie. I don't remember the name of it, but it was the World War I colorized version of the guys in the trenches in Zone Rouge, and they. I don't think they dubbed in the voices. I think the voices were legit, but they colorized the movie. It was about what it was really like for those guys, and it's
Oh,
just it's heartbreaking
it
the
is.
sacrifice. that those guys made, and for what?
Right.
For the for the for king and country, Great Britain, right? Just fuck you
Trench
guys.
trench
I'm an
warfare
I'm an
is the
Anglophone.
most brutal warfare we've ever existed through, and that's all Putin and Zelensky can muster is trench warfare. We don't
No,
ever
no, we
go
have
on
a
the
new
ground anymore. We have
Ukraine is
tech.
a new
Our tech does it.
U, Ukraine is a new zone rouge, and they're just going to
Yeah,
continue to fight until finally someone says, "Why don't we stop fighting?" But hey, I'll tell you what, as long as the Swiss and the Swedes and the English and all the elites over there are willing to buy the weapons from us, I couldn't care less. Go knock yourselves out, idiots. You're about to make Ukraine the first African nation in Europe, and mark my words, that's what's going to happen. Because there isn't going to be
absolutely.
anybody left.
Absolutely. It
These things,
when the UK, if they were ever able to recover from inviting an invasion in, they're
uh,
going to deport if they ever get there. Like they're just going to send all of the Muslims to Ukraine. It's going to get taken
well,
over.
Sean, that would be the logical thing to do. But I think the most likely outcome is that within the next 10 years or so, King William is going to be given the ultimatum: submit to Islam or lose your crown,
I agree.
and
I agree.
or or,
I think they're cooked.
or lose your head. And oh man, the Brits on X, oh my God, they hate me. And they want to talk about all they've done and all the rest of that. And I always throw it right back on them and I say, well, if you guys were so against the overseas slave trade, why were you on the side of the South in the American Civil War? What are you talking about? I said, I'm talking about facts, dude. All right. I'm talking about endless wars for the last 150 years because you guys couldn't stop and you didn't have enough men to do it and you co-opted our men and you fucking killed them. All right. And for what?
Well,
For what?
here's what they go back to say that they were the first nation. Well, as they say, in the early 1840s, we put a naval blockade around Africa to stop the exportation of slaves.
Right.
And I say, okay, that's great, but then you came over just 40, 30 years later, 20 years, 10 late 10, sorry, 10 years later and supported the South in
We
keeping
did.
their slaves. So wait, which one was it? Which one was it?
And the only reason that it didn't work was because Abraham Lincoln was the first Donald Trump. I mean, I know he has lineage back to Andrew Jackson, and that's all relevant as well. But Lincoln had a relationship with Tsar Nicholas. Okay, and when the Brits made their move to bring their fleet over to support the South, the Russian fleet was parked off the east coast of the United States.
Mhm.
And so, what did the Brits do? They turned around and went home.
Here, I you nail a point that I Paul and I have brought up for years. The Russia bad. Russia has been there to team up with the Americans since the inception of the Americans. And
That's right.
every time the British have broke it up through propaganda, all the way up into the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq, where Russia was teaming up with us to destroy terrorists. That's the
Right.
politest way I can say it because
Right.
we're on YouTube. And the British were able to break it up by saying, "Oh no, a Russian MiG engaged with an F-16," which never happened. Right. So it's always been
All
make
propaganda.
sure you keep the Russians and the Americans separated because if they find out they're going to team up and they're going to end the United Nations, they're going to end NATO, and we're all fucked.
We can rip on Bannon all we want, but he actually is very strong on the idea that our real allies are the Russian people, and they are. And to a lesser extent, yes, yes, Vlad the Impaler is not an enemy of the United States. He's not. No, he's not. You can't convince me that he is. I mean, he's a nationalist. He's Russia first. Wouldn't you expect him to be? I mean, for God's sake, if Netanyahu is Israel first, why shouldn't Putin be Russia first? Why shouldn't Modi be India first? Of course he should. Why shouldn't the guy in Japan be Japan first? What the hell? What is the centrifugal force that says, well, you can't defend your national interests. You've got to go along with the international rules based order. Whatever the hell that is, it's whatever Jake Sullivan decides it is. And of course, I use him as an avatar. He's a fucking stooge, but he's taking orders from on high,
Mhm.
and that's what our State Department does.
Oh, 1,000%. And look, I wish JFK, it would have gone a different way, and he was able to break the CIA into 1,000 pieces. I don't mind, and
I wish they would have only hit his ear.
right, and I don't
Yeah,
mind. I've talked with Paul through the State Department and the need for it. Um, I don't mind that they would exist. I just want to make them about 10% of the size they are and
right.
make sure they can only focus outward. And I told Paul, and he agreed, we should station them in places like Uganda and Russia and in Bangladesh and in China. They should not live on American soil if they're going to do the job that the State Department is supposed to do.
Same way the Department of Agriculture should be moved to Kansas City.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
The
And
federal government
Boise.
should be decentralized. We should have the departments of the federal government out among the areas where they're protecting their interests. The Bureau of Land Management should be in Nevada. To have this all in DC is just nuts, nuts, and you're paying for nothing. You're paying for nothing. And I know our topic for tonight is poisoning us and all that, and whether we get to it or not, I figure we'll touch on it. But I just think about what they're all doing and how they're consolidating their own power and how they're just greedy and they don't give a damn about the United States. They don't. Because frankly, if you want to bring down housing prices, open up the federal lands to housing. Do it.
Absolutely.
Do it.
Absolutely.
And I know Trump has to balance things between crashing the economy and everything else. You don't want to completely crash the housing market. We're obviously going to have a correction. All right. And okay, I mean, I already sold mine, so I don't give a shit. It's like the price looks better all the time. You know what I mean? Everybody.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
wait a minute. Real estate's going down. Oh yeah, you haven't seen it go down yet. It's going down, and we're going to have a little bit of whatever. But all I can tell you is that in the midterms, all Trump has to say is what Reagan said: "Stay the course." You know, we've got this foreign money coming in. We got inflow. A little deflation ain't going to hurt anybody except the elites. So what? You know? Okay. I mean, I don't know if it'll hurt my business or not. My business is, an afterthought. It's a mom and pop shop. But I'm open to whatever because the fact is what we're set to talk about tonight is what I want to do next if my business doesn't make it. And it's okay if it doesn't. I'm outcome independent. It's like a relationship. I'm
Well,
going to do everything right, and if it works, great. If it doesn't work, okay. Well, I'll go on to the next thing.
Yeah, on that, as we slide into the topic, we're trying to poison ourselves. Don't you think, like, I get that the TV is going to scream, but that a little bit of deflation is actually needed? Because if you look at incomes from 50 years ago versus housing prices from 50 years ago and go, how the
Beyond
fuck
belief.
how the fuck is my 13-year-old daughter, 18-year-old, whatever, you pick your age kid, ever going to be able to buy a home? They
No
can't.
chance.
Not a
No
chance. They're
chance.
done. They're cooked.
I mean, I have a friend in Australia who's like I don't know, she's new age, whatever. And her husband committed suicide and all the rest of it. I mean, took the easy way out.
Mm,
So sorry. Hope she's not
mm.
watching. Anyway, anyway, she's going on about how well she bought this place, 8 months ago, and it's already $100,000 more. And I'm like, all right. What I want to say is, sell,
Right?
bank the 100,000. Why wouldn't you do that? But you don't even like it, just get the money. Anyway, buy gold, buy Bitcoin for God's sake. Do something. Don't just sit there
Yes.
and wait to get skinned. Sorry.
Right.
If you
That's gonna
think
be
if you think
wild. We'll
that
keep.
if you think that piece of property is worth 100,000 more dollars than it was 6 months ago, you're set to get skinned.
Oh, absolutely, and we've talked about that, with the boomer generation who said, "Hey, see, I did it the right way. I bought property at 60,000 50 years ago, and it's now worth 650,000. That's how you do it, sonny boy." And we're all going, "You're about to lose your ass when we have some deflation. You're about
A
to lose
real
your ass."
correction. A real
Yes,
correction.
a correction.
Yeah.
Well, I believe in market corrections too. But anyways, we're trying to poison ourselves. Let's jump in there.
All right. Um, Obviously, this is something that's come to me later in life, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. And since I don't have King Edward to jump in and start peppering me with whatever, love him, love him, love him,
He's
love him. But
awesome.
he's so awesome. Yeah, I'm laying there at 4:30 in the morning, maybe 5. There's a podcast going. I got one ear on it, and all of a sudden I'm hearing Patrick Soon Sean explain to Megyn Kelly about his research and about how he was called in by Joe Biden to try to cure Bo. And that's where the whole cancer moonshot came from. And Biden going on about how we're going to cure cancer. And I thought, what did he smoke today? Is he on Hunter's crack, or whatever? I mean, I was completely skeptical. I think as I should be, but 2 plus 2 still equals 4. And 80 years ago, as I've mentioned on this show already, we were studying heavy metals and their effectiveness at limiting bacterial infection. Well, everybody knows that arsenic is poison, right? Everybody knows that lead is poison, right? Everybody knows that zinc, as helpful as it is in fighting off respiratory viruses, in excess is poison. I mean, metals are poison to the human system. They just are. But I do understand why they felt like they needed to poison bacteria out of the human body. But of course, God intervened, as he often does. And I want to give the Lord full credit. The last petri dish in the lab that they were using to study this got contaminated and they were ready to throw it out. And in that petri dish, you had a mold. But before they pitched it, they looked and they saw that the bacteria was 100% eradicated. 100%. None of the poisons that they were administering got you to 100% eradication. None. Only the mold was able to eat the bacteria. And the mold is now called penicillin.
Right.
And on top of that, they would feed, mold is not something we can eat, and we didn't have purification back then, but they would feed that mold to the horses on the Oxford police force and collect the urine. And that's And that's where they got sterile penicillin.
That's actually an incredible story that makes total sense. It
But
does.
it even makes more sense now. Imagine knowing that and listening to a Japanese multi-billionaire biopharmaceutical scientist who bought the LA Times, not an ally of mine, but he is now, all right? Talking about how we've been totally wrong in looking at cancer because we've been trying to poison cancer out of our bodies with chemotherapy in that same fashion. The same model that we were trying to use in the 1940s. Folks, this, whoever's listening, for God's sake, this is 80 years later. What the lesson is, what we discovered with penicillin is that augmenting the human immune system to overcome disease is how you win. You don't win by poisoning people. You don't. You kill people by poisoning people. And that includes vaccines, that includes all the preservatives that are in vaccines. And I don't even give a shit what they are. I don't care what flawed studies they come up with. I don't want any of it. I would advise any young mother, zero, refuse, stay away from it totally. Not polio, not anything, nothing. Keep that crap out of my kid's body. All right. Let's augment my child's immune system to fight disease. Let's not poison the kid. That's where autism comes from. That's where all this shit comes from, is we're poisoning ourselves in the name of health. And I can't think of anything more futile. And, obviously from that inspiration, that's where that tweet came from.
Mhm.
I don't think it says anything but that.
No, I
It,
totally agree.
and his name is Patrick Soon Sean, not Edward. I know I got King Edward on the brain. I miss him.
I know. Hopefully, he's figured out how to watch on his phone, but he
Well,
doesn't computer. If he doesn't computer, he also doesn't phone. But hopefully, we'll be able to just send it to. We'll send him a copy later.
he doesn't have 5 different devices like I do, so he can log in no matter what.
Well,
I
the
you
part
know,
of
the
that's
the
true,
Canucks are
but
a
he
little
also
bit
has a
behind.
computer. Like, if you look at, like, for all everybody that listens later, on all of the different channels we're on, if you look at your computer screen and you just need to scroll up and down, that should be natural to you. Edward doesn't know how to even do that. That's what I mean. He doesn't computer. And we were doing a podcast one night, and he was scrolled all the way down. So, like on our screen, he could just see the live camera views of all of us on the podcast. And we were playing a video, and he's like, I can't see it. I can't see it. We're like, scroll back up to the main view screen. And he's,
What?
anyways, we had a good time. We laughed at him hysterically. He's a good sport. He took the laughing and the ridicule and the mocking. And so, King Edward, uh, man, you just don't computer. And that's okay. It's totally
King
okay.
Edward, this one's for you.
All right. So, I'm looking at, so last year, well, about 18 months ago, my aunt, 80 years old at the time, cancer diagnosis, and you go,
Yeah,
fuck. But they said, all right, we believe you're a good candidate to do chemotherapy. She does it. The cancer, they say, went away because she did the all, hold on, all of that. But now they told her her immune system is 100% dead. Do not go out
right,
in public.
right. And what does that get you?
What kind of life is that?
I mean, you're hanging on by your fingernails. You're grabbing the draperies, hoping not to be swept out. And what kind of life is that? Soon Shong, Patrick, not Edward. Okay, I mean, I love Edward, but obviously I've misgendered or misnamed Patrick Soon-Shiong several times. But he points out that if you blow away everything that's designed to keep you healthy, you won't be healthy. And chemotherapy is poison. It's poison. If
Sure.
there's no other takeaway for anybody watching this, it's that chemotherapy is poison. And I would recommend that anyone who has a cancer and gets recommended chemotherapy say not only no, but fuck no. All right? Never. I will never take chemotherapy. None of us should. No one should do it. That model is dead. Soon Shong has destroyed it by unlocking the human immune system, revitalizing it to go back to its youthful age where we fight off cancers all the time. There's actually a level, and if we want to have an after chat or whatever about what the actual level is when you get cancer risk, it's if a certain number on your complete blood count, which we always get, if that number is below 1,000, you're at high risk for cancer and you should get this shot. Remember, this is anti-vax, John. I'm absolutely anti-vax. I'm anti all vax, but I'm pro this one. In it, and Sean, it actually is a vaccine. It is.
Oh, okay. That's what I was going to ask.
It is. It's a cancer vaccine, but it's a cancer vaccine that supercharges your immune system to overcome cancers. Remember, the sulfa that might be in the mail is going is going to last 14 days, and what it takes to kick any infection is 7 to 14 days. And I'm laying there listening to this podcast, and I'm hearing this brilliant man describe this, and I'm getting chubby. I mean, I'm like, okay, I mean, my whole life, when I was in pharmacy school, they talked about immunology and how immunology was actually going to be the key to prolonging the quality of human life. No one can tell me that people on chemotherapy have any quality of any life. I tried to talk to my own sister about this. And of course, she went ahead and did it because those are the best doctors. I know, Sean. I had a good friend, a guy that I used to rent my old house to that my ex is still in. And his daughter has a husband, and of course, he's fully boosted, and now he's got turbo cancer. And I'm trying to talk to him about febendazole. Oh, but Jess is on this, John. She's got the best doctors. And I'm just like, he's fucked. I know I didn't say it because I'm not mean, but he's fucked. He's gonna die. And he's 42.
Fuck.
I
Wow.
know. And that's Sean, unless we get our shit together, that's going to keep happening. And they're gonna get younger and younger.
Well,
Turbo cancer is a real thing. No matter what these bot idiots on Twitter are trying to tell you, it's real. And unless we get interleukin 15 into these people, they have no chance. Nothing.
can we actually touch on that because we've always kind of skirted it or rimmed it.
Rim
um,
shot.
the
That's right.
fenbizidol, the benbizidol, which is for animals. By the way, we're all animals, so both would be applicable.
Yeah.
Um, in how that interacts with the human body, both of them, and can be a corrective agent to help with the immune system.
Let's do a little bit of physiology because this is not pharmacology now. This is physiology,
Yeah.
which actually was my favorite. Well, pharmacology and physiology were both fantastic. Okay, I absolutely drank it up. And as you can tell, I mean, for anybody that wants to argue with me, I'm always big picture. I'm not, when Edward first wanted to talk to me about vaccines and what's in them and what about the side effects, I'm like, you're gonna melt my brain down. I don't want to talk about that. I said I want to talk about what's actually happening, and from 50,000 feet, what's going on? What is the macro trend? And the macro trend is this: there's a fundamental difference between cancer cells and the rest of your body, and that is that any cell that's dividing. Now, think about all of the cells, Sean, and you've seen people with cancer your whole life, I'm sure.
Yep.
Gut, hair, bowels, what bone marrow, everywhere that cells continue to replicate, the chemotherapy poisons them, and it crashes your blood counts, it crashes your gut, it destroys your hair follicles, it poisons you. It just does. The first time I ever saw this, not to digress too much, was when my mom had leukemia and she went after it aggressively. Oh my God. Lost bladder and bowel function within 3 days. I'm walking her to the bathroom while she's pissing her leg.
Yep.
I'm wiping her ass.
Yeah.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
Let's not do that. That's when I decided to be a pharmacist because I never wanted another 18-year-old kid to feel like this. Never. Never. Sorry. Anyway, no, I'm a healer. All right. But all right, all right. I'll chill. No, this is my passion. I mean, salon owner. I mean, come on. And anyway, it's just something to do when I don't believe in what I'm doing because they won't let me believe in it.
Right.
They won't let me tell the truth. Hell, the pharmacy board tried to drum me out of the profession when I was just on Twitter talking about hydroxychloroquine. I got investigated. I had to spend $5,000 defending myself. Some little pencil neck geek, uh, associate professor of women's studies out of California turned me into the Missouri Pharmacy Board, and they investigated me.
All because of a tweet. All because of a tweet.
All because I said hydroxychloroquine works, which it does. And we can talk all about that. But in the same way that hydroxychloroquine works, febendazole works too. So let me bring it home. If you've got a cancer, the fundamental difference between the cancer cells and the rest of your cells is that the cancer cell has a 24-hour feeding period. And even the cells that replicate in your kidney, your major organs, the ones that have to replace themselves, bone marrow, all the places where toxicity from chemotherapy presents itself, that's how you can think about it, get get poisoned by chemotherapy. But a parasite has the same feeding schedule as a cancer, 24 by 7, 24 by 7, 24 by 7. So, big picture, if you think about starving a parasite with Vermox, starving a parasite with febendazole, denying them nutrition so they can't grow, it's like defunding a government agency.
I love it. I
You
love it.
can No, you can live with the cancer still intact and don't die from it. You just live out your normal life.
Well, do you
I even
think?
recommended that to my sister
Do,
because breast cancer is the same.
mm-hmm.
Nope. Nope. She went ahead and poisoned herself.
Ah.
I won't name her, but I mean I'm not expecting her to be around very long.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean my daughter's gone, I mean it's just what life is. People
Well,
and
but isn't this all like? Uh, so I believe there are doctors that want to heal that just because of their medical systems they work in, they're not allowed to heal. And I also have let me ask this question. Don't you think because the time I spent when I was in ICU, I only saw my pharmacist once. Don't you think the pharmacist should play a bigger role in ICU care?
pharmacists are a disgrace. They absolutely have a huge role to play in ICU care and other aspects of hospitalization, and they just don't. They
Do
just
you think
don't.
Do you think that's because of the way the hospital system is, or the
Yeah, I think
pharma?
it's look, I'm tough on them. I'm really tough on the people that turned in doctors for prescribing ivermectin. Yeah. I think those let me just put it bluntly, I think those people should rot in hell,
Yeah,
okay?
totally.
Because no, they violated their oath. We take the oath at graduation to do no harm, and here you are being a gatekeeper, denying life-saving medication to people and sentencing them to death from remdesivir and quote unquote COVID pneumonia, which isn't COVID pneumonia at all. It's remdesivir-induced kidney failure. Sorry, not sorry. That's the truth. Anyone who's listening to this podcast should tomorrow call your doctor's office and declare an allergy to remdesivir and Veklury. Veklury is the trade name for remdesivir. That shit should never be in your body. Not you, not any of your loved ones. All of you. Do it. You'll thank me. All right. When the chips are down, you won't have to worry about whether they sneaked it in there to get their 22% bonus on their charge master. Yeah, Sean, that's what's wrong with American medical care. Protocol. You break protocol, you lose hospital privileges. If you don't have hospital privileges, well, then you can't make your car payment and you've got a $1.5 million mortgage and you'll have to look for somewhere else to work and maybe you'll have to move and then your wife will get mad. It's just like,
Is
fuck
there
you guys. I mean, like,
is there any chance Health and Human Services Secretary Kennedy can make improvements to what we have all experienced for the last 50 years in our healthcare system?
I think he did today. I think he's restricting mRNA vaccines.
Yeah, there was what 14, maybe 18 contracts he
Yeah.
canceled and said this shit's
Yeah.
worthless.
How about that?
It's incredible. I thought it was awesome.
No,
But
no, no. And I mean, I think he's going as fast as he can, but I think he's facing a bureaucracy that's every bit as onerous as the military industrial complex. I think the biopharmaceutical complex is actually more corrupt.
I would agree with that
I mean, with all of
assessment.
this, and Sean, I'm sorry, but with all this talk about we're going to arrest Comey, we're going to arrest Brennan, what about Fauci?
That's where I've been for the entire experience of what we do
How?
here online is what like I could look at all kinds of different crimes. You could line them up. And Paul being Paul is like, hey, let's just move on. I said, hey, listen,
No,
well hold on. I asked Paul, do you think our friend, and everyone's going to get really mad at me right now when they watch this podcast or listening to it later on Spotify or iHeart, do you think Putin could arrest and prosecute Fauci for crimes against humanity?
oh man, you talk about, when I was sleeping or kind of half awake, and I heard Patrick Soon Shong, and I started to get a chubby. If I heard that Putin arrested Fauci, I would have a dream that I was with Sydney Sweeney and I'd get there.
Well, but
I haven't had
because his pardon is only good in America, everybody, I know they're raging as they listen to this in their car going down the road. Hands on 10 and 2 if you're driving down the road when you listen to this podcast later. Putin could be an ally, and he also, because the pardon is only effective in America, Putin, would you please arrest and prosecute Dr. Fauci for crimes against
against
humanity?
humanity. Look, if you can arrest Brittany Griner, you can arrest Fauci. I mean, all Brittany Griner did was smoke a joint, right? All right. Fauci killed 400,000 Americans.
Yep.
He did.
Yep.
And Sean, let's soon
Mm,
Sean.
add to that, go all the way back to AIDS and his
Yes,
refusal to
yes.
give
Yeah.
medication that was effective against the AIDS virus so that he could do testing. He's killed millions.
In fact, ironically, the medicine that will be arriving soon, Sean, is the stuff that Fauci was denying to the people dying of AIDS. It's the exact same compound. It's very effective and it will help. All right.
I
I know the irony is just dripping off a knife, isn't it? I mean, come on. I mean that's such great recall. I
I
I know they're gonna say, "Oh, this is like a bromance. You two just no, 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 no. This guy is a first-rate mind. He's right there."
well, I guess what people's memories are short, and the reason they're short is
Mine
because of
isn't.
what no, me and you, obviously, what we talked about the revolution, we talked about William Bradford, we've progressed a lot through this. It's not us, it's the let's call them normies who don't follow the news, and the
It's the
only news
popular
they get
culture.
is from TikTok.
It's the popular culture.
Right, pop culture.
Yeah.
They get their news from TikTok, and for whatever reason, totally buy into this stuff, but they've been buying into it. It would be the same as in the 1950s believing CBS or NBC,
Right.
talking about talking about
Well, the reason why the left really hates Trump more than anything else is that all it would take would be for Jennifer Lopez or Charlemagne the God or
that's
whoever,
the guy.
whatever.
If they could
Yeah,
get him, Charlemagne
yeah,
the God.
yeah. But to get one of those people to denounce Trump, then he would sway public opinion. But the reason they fear Trump the most is that Trump's a celebrity too. And he's got a bigger dick than all of them. So the
Right.
point is, Bruce Springsteen can run up and trip on stage, and then he's finished. You don't even hear a word from him anymore since he fell. I mean, old men fall on stage. That's what happened. The boss is gone.
He's
It
absolutely
doesn't
gone.
work. They can't smear him with the same old shit. That's why he scares them so much.
Well, I think JD scares the ever living shit out of him
Oh my
too.
God, they're already out after him with the long knives. They're already talking Rubio.
Hmm.
They think they can co-opt little Marco.
Oh yeah, yeah. They're out there today saying, "God, remember when Rubio ran that Senate investigation and said Trump's totally guilty of collusion with Russia, Russia, Russia?" And here's the funny part: I see the response on Twitter, which is like, "Yeah, because you never gave him the information, you dumbasses."
Right. Yeah, okay, can I ask this? And I mean, I've been meaning to ask somebody this, and obviously you're a good source of information. When you get a special counsel or an independent counsel, it's this annex bullshit. Doesn't the special counsel produce his findings? What? How is it that you even have him in for testimony and he doesn't even tell you what he found? And the stuff that he found is in an annex and it's in a goddamn burn bag? What? Why did we pay for that? What the hell? What's the point? If you're just going to conceal everything that he found,
Oh,
and then and
you're
and then
getting into the Durham report. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah, the Durham annex. What the hell
yeah.
is that?
Well,
I
because
mean,
he
have you ever heard
produced
of an
a
annex in an independent counsel report?
of course, well, but it was never delivered to the council.
Well, no, but why not?
Okay,
Because it hurt the wrong people. I
right,
know.
yeah,
So
yeah.
who Mike Pompeo didn't allow it to see the light of day. Yeah, the idea that guy's trying to rehabilitate himself. I'm like, hey, deep state Mike, go pound sand, dickwad. I don't care how much Ozempic you take, you're a dead letter. Nobody's gonna buy it.
Oh, they're and everybody's saying they're freaking out. I say no, they're not because they believe they still have the power of the deep state, and they're not remembering Trump version 1, and they're not realizing Trump version 2 with his new cabinet are like, "Fuck you guys, we're done." And I think we're gonna see some things. And again, a lot of people are skeptical because they're like, "Ah, it never happened. It never will happen. Republicans are weak." And I say, "All right, I get what you're saying. What I think what's gonna happen though, and it won't be everybody, we won't get fully satisfied
Oh, no.
ever, but I think you're gonna see some people go down for this. And the reason that it's going to happen is to send a message into the future that deep state, stop. We're done. You need to listen to the will of the people and not be the rulers of the people, or you will get overthrown in the same way that King James III did, uh, 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 ruling over America.
Here's the angle I see. I see all these people talking about prosecute Obama. Right. No, that's not going to happen. I mean, I don't even know if prosecuting Hillary's going to happen, but they are going to make her look bad. And even Comer can make her look bad. I wish Matt Gaetz was in the hearing, but he won't be. And but Brandon Gill will be there, and that'll be fun. Yeah, we'll get some good sound bites out of that.
Yeah.
But what we need to do, Sean, and remember Russell Kirk. Yeah, I am a conservative. I mean, I'm a JFK Democrat, of course, because I think government should be allowed to help people, and Russell wouldn't agree with that. He would say they should handle it themselves. And I'm largely in agreement with that, but I don't mind helping people as long as you stop helping them when you realize you're hurting them. That's been the hardest thing in my life is to find a left winger who will agree to stop hurting them once they find out that their help doesn't help. Like C.S. Lewis said, the worst tyranny is the tyranny of the do-gooder, because the do-gooder keeps doing good even though you don't want his good, and even though you start resenting him, but he still does it because all he cares about is how he feels. And yeah, that's paraphrasing, but that's true. All right. But the point is, I don't mind government helping Americans. In fact, I support it. I think America is great. But but we need to make things hot enough that the hatchet men realize that when an Obama gives you a command like that, you don't just simply say, yes, sir, we'll fix it like stroke. You say, "Hey, I need to resign.
Yes.
I need to get out of here because I'm going to go to jail if I do this."
Yes.
That's the sentinel effect that we need, and literally that's all we can hope for. I mean, we're not going to take over. I know everyone says, "Oh yeah, MAGA." No, we're not. We're not. I mean, the money interests are gonna continue to rule, but they need to give us enough room to live. And that's all I'm fighting for. I don't want to be squeezed out of existence. That's it. And that's what I want for my kids.
No, totally.
Yeah, let's get
Oh,
realistic.
well, like what a MAGA influencers or
Oh,
the Democrat.
stop.
Look, I
Yeah,
don't. I pay them no mind. I don't pay any attention to them. And look, I get people will comment on them. It's
who
fine, but when
cares?
they're like, "Oh, Hillary's going to jail," no,
No,
probably
she's
not.
not. No, she's
Obama's going to prison. No,
no.
no,
But
he's
Brennan
not.
might be. That hey,
So Brennan,
Brennan is a
Comey,
yeah.
Stroke, Page, and that's plausible.
Lisa Monaco and a
Yes,
few people like that. Fuck yeah, Valerie Jarrett. Oh yeah,
yes.
give me all that you can, and I want all their orange jumpsuits to zip in the back for easy access.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Uh, I
Schiff Schiff needs to be arrested.
I look, he needs to be prosecuted more than just arrested.
I'll take an arrest right
That
now.
that'd be nice. I
I
mean,
mean, remember what my screen name is. It's counterfeit cash. It will change when I see an arrest. One arrest of a name that I recognize. Not some drug dealer that's been a kingpin in South. Don't give a shit. I mean, of course, that's a good thing to do.
And
And I
he's
love
done it, and
stopping.
he's done
I
a
love
ton of that.
stopping the sex
Yeah.
trafficking and all that. That's great. But we need some names to go down. You can't think that this is a free shot at the people when you're in power. You just can't. And there has to be accountability for somebody. I'm sorry, Paul. There does.
Oh, I totally agree. And look, I also think the people of Paul's generation are used to the Bush era Republican Party of turning the other cheek. And I will say to him, Paul, I hope you watch this. We are done with turning the cheek. We want accountability, and we want it hard. We really
Oh
want it
yeah,
hard. And we
yeah.
also acknowledge it's not going to be Hillary, it's not going to be Obama, and we're fine with that.
But
Take out
this can't be Kevin Kleinsmith where you change evidence to convict someone and then you get a slap on the wrist and you just walk away. You don't even lose your law license. That's ridiculous. Durham was a joke. And the whole Durham annex, and I mean, I'm gonna quote Lou Dobbs. Love Lou Dobbs. I'm pretty sure you do too. But the
yeah.
Durham investigation today entered day 564. An act of such craven insincerity that the English language doesn't permit me to summarize it. Now
Dobbs is
that
great.
is must see TV, all right? By the way, that was his last night on Fox. Of course.
Of course, like,
Of
I've gotten to
course,
the
because
point with
they're
Fox, we
establishment. Turn off Fox.
turn off Fox is right, and we've got 3 minutes left.
All right.
I want to explain to people who watch, us, or listen to us later in the car, Fox News is not your friend. I
No.
know you like Gutfeld. I know you like some of the other
I mean,
characters on there.
Jesse's okay. Yeah.
Just I mean, they're fun, but they're not news. They are opinion shows just like CNN that you hate and MSNBC that you hate. It's an opinion network. It is not a news network. You need to turn the box on your wall off. If you need something to watch, watch this podcast. Watch any other podcast. Start reaching out. You can put them on your TV very easily with your
Watch
smart
Megan
TV.
Kelly. Watch
Watch
Megan
Megyn
Kelly.
Kelly. Like, I don't care. Watch Tucker, and then go, wow, that was weird. Watch something else. Why, like, start exploring the world of podcasting because your television is lying to
Is
you.
lying. Is lying. By the way, Sean Hannity is the enemy. All right. Okay.
Hundred
But
percent.
but on top of that, did you see Loomer download on Tucker?
I did.
Wow. Wow.
Holy,
We gotta do a show on that.
yeah. We'll have to pull up the entire thread.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
Wow, she unloaded on him. And a lot of it, like, if you start putting the pieces together, he grew up rich, elite, part of the system,
He
uh,
admits it.
and he's admitted it all along, even on his podcast now. He
Yeah.
admits it. And you go, oh, all right, dad ties to Hunter. They were neighbors, like the, and you go, wow,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. No, I'm giving it a look.
Oh, for sure. And I
Yeah.
don't take everything at face value. I always want to think about it, but
Oh,
uh,
she's nuts. I know, but the
she's
fact is,
absolutely nuts.
these are facts. I mean, you give me the video. I mean, do I have any choice but to believe what he said? And then I have to speculate why did he say it?
Hmm.
Because it was crazy. I mean, the video I saw was, to be honest, it was damning. It really
Yeah,
was. Yeah, and
absolutely.
he knew. Yeah,
He totally knew. He totally knew. And remember, I was thinking about this. And remember, he when he before he got let go from Fox, right? He
Yeah.
said, what was it specifically he said about he's like, "Oh, we can't corroborate the Hunter Biden laptop story." So he did a
Right.
whole show on it the day before and then came back and said, "Well, yeah, we did all that, but we couldn't corroborate any of the evidence. So just ignore it."
Anybody believe that?
No,
No, I don't
no,
either.
no.
And that's why I'm not a member of this network.
Well, it also
No.
because of just the way I operate on the internet, so that we can do our podcast. I'm still gonna look at. Not, look. I don't have time in the day to watch everything from everybody. I'm still gonna look at what he does, and if it's interesting, we'll bring it. But no, I think Laura Loomer got him.
Yeah, he's helpful and he's fearless, but he's not perfect, and no one is. And I did not have 2025 being the year of the discrediting of influencers, but that's been what it is.
We're gonna run a little bit, just a minute or two long on this because I really want to point out how influencers like Laura Loomer are discrediting what was called credible news,
Yep.
whether it was Fox, NBC, CNN, CBS, ABC, you name it.
Anybody.
This is
Listen, she takes no prisoners.
because she doesn't have the fear. Here's why she doesn't have fear is because Tucker has no power anymore. He's not at
Right.
Fox. So you go pick your big dog at any network, NBC, CBS, ABC, MSNBC, and look at them and go, well, if I could provide facts and I could take them down, my audience, because we're in an internet era, is going to be far larger than their TV audience. I can literally roast them and they can't do anything to me. So even if Tucker comes back at Loomer, he doesn't have the audience she does.
He's not going to do anything.
No,
He's gonna remain silent.
you're gonna,
And
yeah, he'll just pretend that it never happened.
but to amplify your point, George Step on All of Us is a really juicy target because he is such a liar and he is a disgusting human being. I mean, he's a reprobate. I mean, there's no words. He's lower than snail excrement with me. I mean, he's just an absolute worm, and he's fair game. You can take him out, and you can obviously get a settlement. I mean, Trump is suing the shit out of all of them, and bully for him.
That's my point. All right, we're running late. We got to close it out. Awesome. I thank you so much, JC. What a cool show. Let's
Show was friggin' awesome. All right,
let's
I
play it
mean, I
out.
don't mind saying so myself, but you're fantastic.
Man, I had a good time. Thank you everybody for joining us. If you want to listen on Spotify, my home